Hello, and thank you so much for being here. Welcome to the She Means Business podcast, where we bring together badass women business owners, industry leaders, and other aspiring women to celebrate their success and empower you. I am your host, Ashley Mastowski. I'm a business owner, wife, and mom of twin toddlers. Ambitious is my middle name. Join our email list and follow us on Instagram and Facebook. You'll find inspiring content, updates, and the chance to connect with like-minded individuals. Remember to leave a review and share how we've inspired you. Now, let's get to business. Okay, welcome back to the She Means Business podcast. Thank you so much for listening in. I am very excited coming off of our first episode to have a lineup of amazing women that we get to showcase and highlight and help all of us go through our struggles and make it out on top. So today I have a special guest. Her name is Debi, and she is the owner of Hello Coaching. I'm so excited to have her on. She opened her business in the infamous year of 2020. So kudos to her. And she is a health and nutrition coach. And she also does life and non-traditional personal training. So let's cut right to the chase. Welcome, Debi. Thanks for joining.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm so honored to be the guest on your podcast, but also just to know you, because I'm so proud of you for launching this and all the things you do between business and momming and wifing. And it's just, it's an honor.
Thank you. I tend to take on a lot more than I really should, but honestly, that's when I've learned that I thrive, because you have to be like that much more organized, right?
That's probably why we connect so well.
Probably. We like to take on, we have another networking thing that we have in the that we're working on. So I'm like, not that we don't have our plates full already.
Right. In our spare
time. What's another thing? Right. So we met about almost 2 years ago through a networking group.
Yes.
We're both big networkers and relationship builders. So I want you to I know some of your story, but I think there's a lot that I don't know, and I'd love to learn more about you right on here with all of our listeners. So tell me kind of your story. You could start wherever you want, but tell me your story and how you got to where you are today.
You got it. So I think ultimately where I'll start is that my passion and my purpose and the whole reason I launched my business was because I've just come to this place of understanding that my reason is to help other people. And so it's why under the umbrella of Hello Coaching, there's health and nutrition coaching and life coaching and networking and non-traditional personal training, because not everybody needs the same type of help. And I think I came to this realization as we get older and we mature and we, become wives and have families and go through the business world, especially for people like you and I who love to build relationships and connect, and you learn everybody's stories. And I've always been one of those people that's been a connector, like, oh, you need this, you should go see this person. And so it's something I've always just kind of done.
Awesome.
Partnering that with the fact that health and wellness has always been a part of my life. I discovered it at 13 years old, sort of through not tragedy, but in not great circumstances. My mom was very overweight. She battled her weight my entire life, probably her entire life. Medically, definitely obese. But I saw her struggle, and I saw her try the liquid diets and the retreats and the Weight Watcher, all the things without success. And so I think subconsciously, I just decided I don't want to struggle like that. I don't ever want to not enjoy food. I don't ever want food to be the enemy, because if you've met me and if you've had dinner with me, my husband laughs because I can eat twice as much as him.
Yep.
I love food and it's not the enemy, but so many people have a tough situation with it. So I really went the direction of health and fitness. So at 13 years old, I started to teach aerobics. I got certified. I started to teach.
Wait, at 13?
At 13.
Oh, that's so awesome.
So young. Like, I look at my son who's almost 13 and I'm like, wow, it's so crazy to look back on. And I was always active growing up. I was required to be active by my parents. I would swim, gymnastics, dance, but I was never one that really exerted myself. I kind of went to class, kind of socialized a lot, did what I could do, but it was never a push. And then did you find
when you say your mom wasn't really active, but super obese, but then they made you do that, did you ever question that at 13? Like, something seems off. They're not doing it, but they're making me do it. Did you ever
I didn't. And actually, my mom started doing step aerobics. So after I discovered aerobics, but from a high school PE instructor, she brought it to our high school. Yeah. And she was so cute and so peppy and adorable and beautiful. And I was like, I want to be like her. I can just teach aerobics. And then my mom started to do step aerobics. So it was actually something, I was never super close with my mom, and she has since passed, but we were never really close, but it was something that we did together. And so that was awesome. Like another benefit of it. And I just fell in love with it. So I started teaching, like back in the day, the high-low classes, the step aerobics.
I love those. I did them for a hot minute in college, and I absolutely loved them.
Oh, they're so fun. And I taught all the way through college. I taught at my college dorm. So I got paid to work out, which was best job ever. And I did it all the way through my mid-20s. And at the time, I also wanted to be J-Lo in the wedding planner, because fun. So I was that. Yes. So
by the way, I think we're dating ourselves in this podcast.
100%. Yes. Yeah. And I'll own it. That is one of the things I love, is age is just a number. And it's really like how you feel and what you put out there. So for me, age is just a number. So yeah, I'm like 47, almost 48, proud of it.
Are you really? I would have never guessed. You look amazing. Yes. So I think this proves that you're coaching.
Thank you. Thank you. Yeah. I try to be my own best test case. So,
that's awesome.
But yeah. So I started to really study hospitality and got into meeting and event planning. So as I climbed that corporate ladder, events are nights and weekends, and typically fitness classes are nights and weekends, because that's when people are not at work. So I had to make a choice eventually. And in my kind of mid to late 20s, I said, I'm going J-Lo. I'm going to go plan hospitality events. But I always kept fitness as a part of my life. I mean, even when I got put on bed rest when I was pregnant, I was like begging the OB can I just walk the block? Can I just because I call it my church.
You were one of those.
Oh, totally. Well, because it's my church, my therapy, and my exercise all in one. And that was all I knew. That was how I taught myself growing up, is when you are active, you feel better. And so I always kept it as a personal value. And events was amazing. It will always be in my DNA. But I mean,
let's be honest. I did for a hot minute work in the industry, and you're walking the you're on your feet all day. Kudos to the event planners and 100%. People in those industry, because you are for sure getting your steps in.
People that haven't been behind the scenes at events have no idea the amount of work that goes into pulling off just this flawless moment in time.
It's like that iceberg photo, right? Like you see like this little tip of all the success, but you don't see the massive, ice underneath the water that we're all like struggling and getting through. So same with events in our businesses and things like that. You're like, well, I'm glad the outskirt looks pretty, but I'm exhausted, I'm stressed, I'm tired, and I need a vacation now.
Yeah, exactly. I always said it was like a swan, really beautiful and graceful on the top, and then under the water, their poor little feet are like paddling like crazy. So I did that for 25 years. And and I love the industry. I learned so much about service and connecting to other people. And again, it was another way that I could help serve people and bring their dreams to life. And then when the pandemic hit and living in Vegas, that world shut down. But I was still working out. And personally during the pandemic, I went through massive changes. I was a gym rat for my whole life, and the gyms shut down. So not only did my hospitality world shut down, my gyms shut down.
Which that is beyond me, by the way. We won't even go that route, but it's like the one thing that keeps people healthy.
Oh, I know. So we had to find other alternatives, right? So I tried the video classes, and they were great. I did a lot of yoga and stuff like that, but I am like, I need to sweat. My mentality is at some point in the day, I've got to sweat. So I started taking walks, which for me, I was like 75-year-olds go for walks, and that's great, but it honestly completely transformed my mental state, but also my body. It also shed some light on some of the unhealthy habits and behaviors that I had. And I realized that without the gym, I was working out 6 or 7 days a week, boxing or kickboxing at the time, super intense, pushing through a back injury, pushing through an autoimmune disease with such intensity that I was checking the box of doing good things for my body while also pushing the envelope of hurting my body. I was overtraining. I wasn't listening to the inflammation and the pain. I was just ignoring that part.
This is all I know. So, this is what I should be doing. Not all 100%. I know, but this is what I should be doing, right?
It was all I know. Yeah. So when I started walking and some of the pain started to dissipate, the other piece of that puzzle was I probably need to get my relationship with food right, because
I think that's everybody.
Everybody went through it. And really in the pandemic, you went one of two ways. You either just went, all right, we're here, I'm just going to eat and see what happens. Or you went, okay, I'm out of work, I'm doing whatever, I'm just going to use this time to work on myself. It's very like polarizing as far as what people did.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And one of the great things, and I know we'll talk about the walk to end Alzheimer's, but my family started to walk together. So every day at 3:00, I shut my laptop, my husband shut his laptop, my son was done with school, and we would go for a family walk, 3:00
awesome.
Every day. It was so awesome. Beautiful.
Okay, no, with the Vegas heat, because you are local here in Vegas.
Yes.
Did you adjust that in the summertime? What do you do?
We did.
I think I need my own tips.
Yes, we did. We would go for shorter walks. Sometimes we would kind of say it's too hot, so let's just wait till this evening. So we would adjust the time when we needed to. But ultimately, it was just a time for us to connect and move our bodies and get out of the four walls that we were all like going crazy staring at.
Yeah.
And so as I started to really reconnect with myself and learn these lessons, someone approached me with the opportunity to start coaching. And I wanted to help people. I wanted to connect people. I was having all these epiphanies about my own health. And so, it's just, I've been very blessed my whole life about having great instinct and intuition, but also kind of right place, right time, and having opportunities come my way. And so I was like, I'm just going to take a leap of faith, and started in November of 2020. And within 6 months, made the decision to leave the corporate world and coach full time.
Wow.
Yeah. It went way faster than I thought it would, but I've learned so much.
Isn't that funny when you really change your mindset and you have a full-on focus? Before it sounded like maybe I'm going to dabble. I know this is my passion.
The side
I don't
hustle.
know exactly like all these things. But then when you really like tunnel vision yourself and you put together, you seem, I know you, but very goal oriented. The whole thing changes, right? The whole shift.
It shifts. Yes.
Completely
100%.
changes. Now we still have to rely on faith, right? We're still small business owners. We still, it's a struggle day to day, but you do have to put your faith in that you are doing what you are called to do and that you want to do.
And that's one of the biggest lessons, is just learning to trust yourself, whether it's in business, as a parent, with your own health and wellness, listening to your body, like learning to trust yourself is one of the best things that you can do. Doesn't mean it'll always turn out great or that you get it right, but I feel you do get it right more often than not when you just listen to yourself.
Yeah. And you do. And then the other part to that is we all have failed multiple times. It's what did you learn from 100%. Failing that you can grow from and get better at. So know that you're going to fail at something or things, because it's not just once.
Multiple. Yeah, for sure.
And then as long as you take that and grow from it, I think everybody's better off.
Absolutely. I'll even have coaching clients that will text me and say, I failed on getting all my water in today. And I'm like, that is so awesome. I'm glad that you had a challenge. This is how we learn. This is how we grow. If everything's easy peasy, something's wrong.
Yeah.
Something's not going to change or shift, or you're not going to grow from it. It's those hard moments that you really grow and learn what you're made of.
For sure. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So, and I really did start coaching with the intention of it being a side hustle. I really thought it was just something I'll do on the side. And then I had people approaching me, not just for health coaching, but I had people reaching out and saying, I'm not really concerned about my health, but I've really got some life goals that I need help with. Can you help me with that? And that was super exciting for me, because in my core, I really am a businesswoman. I love strategy. I love getting down to the nitty gritty and creating concepts and building business. And so that spoke to me. So I wanted to make sure I had the proper credentials. I went and got certified. I added that service, and that's been phenomenal. It's just a really fun, different perspective on helping other people. And then from there, I decided I really wanted to kind of go back to my roots of when I was 13 years old. So when I was 13 and I got certified, I went with the most straightforward, easiest certification I could find because I was 13. And also,
it still blows my mind that you were doing this at 13.
It's crazy. It is. When I look back, it is crazy. But I also didn't have the confidence in myself at 13 to go through an accredited certification program. So that was kind of like, okay, this is my redo. This is the growth and the lesson in the shift. And so I went for an accredited personal training certification, more to prove it to myself than anybody else. And have since added that service with the caveat that I do non-traditional personal training. So I work with specialty groups. I work with special needs. I work with kids, and I work with senior citizens.
That is so awesome.
There's just not a lot of people that work with those markets. And I think that for a number of reasons, it's super important to address those.
100%. And I watched my grandma when we moved her into an assisted living home. I watched her kind of go downhill, and they're so limited. But I think if they have a Debi in their life, that they have that extra will to, just little things that maybe I saw my grandma not, do, or, she just loved sitting in that chair watching TV, and I get it. And it's hard, but I think if you have that, extra help, and you're so joyful and bouncy and positive that it's like, it's very, what's the word I'm looking for? It's in the morning that we're recording.
Need more coffee.
Yeah, I know, right. I'm going to keep drinking. It just emanates off of you. And so you just follow it, and you can't help but become positive yourself. So, that's so awesome. That's really cool that you do that.
And but I benefit from it too. I have an 80-year-old woman that I walk with once a week. She was recently diagnosed with breast cancer. Her daughter lives in California, reached out to me and was like, listen, I need someone to just walk with her. And my client loves it because it's not her daughter or her son kind of talking about what she has to do. It's just me there walking with her, listening to her, encouraging her. There's no ulterior motive other than just moving her body for 30 minutes. And she can talk to me about whatever. She's old school Italian. And sometimes I feel guilty that I get paid for it because I learn more from my clients than I feel like sometimes they learn from me. I like to think it's reciprocal, but that's why I am so joyful and positive. It's not that I don't have challenges, but I have so much more positivity in my life. It makes the stuff that is challenging and hard to go through, it makes it a little bit easier to navigate because I can focus on the gratitude piece, and I can focus on putting the positive energy out so it gets brought back to me.
That's so cool. That's awesome. I didn't know that part. And that's, there's certain places that you find I'm sure you love working with just, any age, but you find that extra soft spot, right? That you just 100%. Really, I don't have a lot of clients that are older, but I have a few, and I will tell you the 1 year, every renewal that they call, and it's like a 30, 45 minute conversation about their life and what's going on, sometimes are the most joyous for me because I'm getting yelled at left and right. We're in a really, really tough insurance market, and everybody's upset about everything. And these little ones, they just bring a different perspective to life, and it brightens up the day for me. It gives it. And so I'm like, as hard as it is to insure the older generation, I enjoy it. So if I have a handful of them, it helps, it helps.
Sprinkle them in.
Yeah, exactly. I like that. Yep.
Totally. Sure. And it's totally different market than my health and nutrition coaching, which is typically women 35 to 60, either perimenopausal, menopausal, postmenopausal. So a very different dynamic. And so I kind of get a little bit of everything, which I love. It keeps everything fresh. I get a great variety. No 2 days are the same. I love it.
And I think that's why I like my job too, is there is not one day that is the same. And there's days that I'm writing a ton of business. There's days that I'm dealing with claims all day and it's a really sad day. And I make sure to get to the gym on those days. I'm like, I need to work this off. Then there's days that I'm just out marketing all day. I love the best thing too. And I know you'll appreciate this is I've been in the insurance industry for almost 15 years now. There is not one day that goes by that I don't learn something new. There's always stuff to learn and that you're constantly learning. And I always love furthering my education, but which I know you do. I
was just going to say that's something else we connect on. I've literally got a textbook always within arm's length. I'm such a believer in that.
Yep. My motivational books that are on leadership and all the stuff and how to be successful in customer service and all that stuff. But then I also am part of some masterminds that are strictly for insurance agency owners, a mastermind that's small business owners, because at the end of the day, as small business owners, we work for ourselves. I don't have a corporate company. So I have my awesome team, but nobody, ahead of me that's giving me guidance. It's more of, let's see if this works or this is a good idea. And so it's really hard when you're on your own and don't have, so you and I have to build our own community and that's what we're doing. And that's kind of also what kind of got me down this passion project of this podcast is we can be each other's cheerleaders and be there for each other. We're not in the same industry at all, but we still have a ton in common and we have that bug, one of the things that I think our listeners I think that you could really help with is, the podcast is for business owners, but also people in the corporate world who want to either work their way up there or like you kind of felt stuck. I knew I would never make it on the corporate side. It wasn't even an option to me. I knew my work ethic. I knew what I brought to the table, and I've just never liked people telling me what to do. You can give a big shout out to my mom. I don't know how she survived me. And I'm learning that with my own daughter right now, who's only 2.
Yes.
And then my mom just laughs at me, which is so rude. But
it's a loving laugh.
I don't hear any love out of that laugh.
That's hilarious.
But, I at least figured that out myself. And I know some people haven't figured that out, but what is maybe some advice you could give to the listeners that are maybe feel stuck in that rut in the corporate side that maybe have that passion or maybe just even scared to jump out and do what you did? Do you have any advice for them or just even anything to give them, any tidbits?
Yeah, absolutely. And it is scary. So, definitely that's normal to feel scared because it is an unknown. And like you said earlier, to your point, like you are everything. You're HR, you're marketing, you're sales, you're the janitor, you're everything. And so absolutely. So I would say, number one, when you feel stuck, really investigate what that is. So really get down to the root of, is it because of the role you're in, the company you're in, what you're actually doing, your service or your product? Or is it that you've got this passion project inside of you that screams so loudly you can't ignore it? Because the path for each of those is going to be pretty different. I always recommend, and yes, I'm biased because I am a coach, but hire a coach. Even if it's for one session, just to have someone walk you through the activity or a series of 5 to kind of go through what that looks like and building a plan for a side hustle and exploring. It's well worth the money to be able to, which by the way, it's not that expensive, but it's well worth the investment in yourself, in your future, to make sure that you're not, wasting all these years. I hear so many people that are like, man, I wasted all these years and I finally took the leap of faith and it was fine.
And then you look back and you're like, really? I was
totally,
you're like, I should have done this earlier.
Well, there's, us humans are great about staying in our comfort zones. Even when they're uncomfortable and we don't like them, we stay there because change is scary and fear doesn't feel good.
That's exactly what was for me. I was really comfortable working for somebody running offices and I knew I could make more, but I was still making enough, like good enough money that it was like, I'm going to stay put a little bit longer. But I didn't know what I want. You still had to figure that out. And to your point on coaches, I didn't know you as well, then, but starting a brand new business right before COVID hit, and that was fine. And I was doing great. And I know I could always improve. But then when I became a mom, it is a lot. And then my husband struggles with health issues. So here I have 3 humans that I'm supposed to take care of. My business is growing faster than ever. If I didn't have my community, they say it takes a village, and it really, really does.
Yeah.
And I honestly, I struggled. I knew I needed to hire coaches, and I was worried about the investment, but I finally just went with my gut, and I said, I'm not going to survive if I don't. So I probably financially shouldn't have done it. But if I fast forward without knowing that, and I'm sitting here today, I wouldn't be here, and I wouldn't be on the track that I'm at to make a raise, to continue to grow, to have a raise, to continue to grow my business. And, I hired a mind fundamentals coach, which was personal and business.
And I go to the same one.
Yeah, that's right. Yep. She was a massive help, because here I'm like, I'm that duck in the swan underneath the water going, people are always like, oh, you got your life together. You're doing so great as a new mom. And I'm like, that's social media. That is not real life. And so I try to, put tidbits out there, because I still want to stay positive and have that for people. But at the same time, I'm like, no, it's not all sunshine and rainbows over here, people.
Right.
And then I hired a financial coach for personal and business, going through infertility. That was over $80,000 in medical debt.
Yeah.
To
oh my
have
gosh.
my little miracles, and then open a business with next to no money, going from being the breadwinner. So I did a lot in a short amount of time. And the coaching piece was probably the biggest breakthrough for me. And it's still a struggle, don't get me wrong, but we need those things. And look at you, you're a coach, and you still have a coach, and you hired a
100%,
coach, which is amazing.
100%.
That just speaks volumes on the importance, but also volumes on you.
Well, thank you. Yeah, no, I always say, if you're looking at working with a coach, ask them who they use to coach them, because if you want a coach that uses coaches, it's a value that really bleeds through in the work that we do. And I'm very similar to you. Like, from the outside, I always look like I've got it all together. Part of that is by design, especially when I was in hospitality. Like, you can't show stress. You can't show, if your floral arrangements are showing up late, you've got to just put on that smile and everything's great. This is an amazing entrance. Hello. And then the florals appear. So there's a lot of spin. And I was, raised in that industry. So that's a part of my personality, but I also have done a lot of work with my coaches to show the vulnerable side of me and to talk about, I didn't talk about being estranged from my mom for a very long time. I am now estranged from my dad by choice. And that's something I still don't talk about a ton because of my son. And I want to make sure he gets to make his own choices, but that's hard. That's really hard.
I'm sure.
Being a businesswoman and rising to the top and going through different assumptions that are made about you. I've had a life just filled with contrast. So I've had someone, when I talked about starting a family, when I was in hospitality, I talked about starting a family. They're like, really? You as a mom? Which, pull the dagger out. Yeah. Oh, it was horrifying. And then
it blows my mind, things that come out of people's mouths.
Right.
That's not even a kind thing to say, whether I agree with it or not. Like, you keep your mouth shut on stuff like that.
And that was obviously that was like probably 15 years ago. And I remember it to this day. But then I've also had someone who saw me interacting with my son on a playground and came up to me and basically said, I've decided to adopt a kid because I see the relationship between you and your son. And that is the best compliment in my entire life. So awesome. That's so awesome. It's just all these areas of contrast, and having a coach really helps you, whether it's in health and wellness, whether it's in business, whether it's in life and getting yourself organized. There's so many people that, I organize my shoes by like type and color. And, that's a little extreme.
Oh boy.
I'll send you a
you want to come
closet.
over and help me with my closet right now?
I
might
do.
force you
that is
to
like my
actually
jam. But there's just little tips and tricks in the way my brain works will help somebody. And I want to be that source for somebody, just like how our mind performance coach's brain works and gives us perspective. That outside perspective is so huge because we know what we know and we do what we do and we're creatures of habit.
We think everybody thinks the same way we do. We know that's not,
yes.
but we can't comprehend that you're like, how do you keep your shoe? Why would I care about colors? But to you, that works. And to me, I'm like, I'm just going to throw it in there. I mean, I'm thankful my house cleaners just fold my clothes. And you know what? Half the time they just stay on the floor. So now I'm like, how can I get my house cleaners to know where to put the clothes away? I don't know.
Right. It's all
but you're like, no, I need it neat and orderly. And that's so not my mind. I'm like, no, don't want to deal with it.
But that's also why I love like the networking groups that we're a part of, because we get those different perspectives in a very non-invasive, just kind of a connecting way. Like, oh, I do it like this. Oh, I should try it like that. I've never even thought about it that way. It's just those outside perspectives and opinions that really just kind of help us become more well-rounded humans, but more well-rounded business professionals.
For sure. And you know what, at the end of the day, and this is my thought process through the whole thing. And one of the reasons why I felt so called for this podcast and to build this community is I'm going to kind of piggyback it on my grandma's, because when I was talking to my grandma, she was called the mouse that roars. And I was like, we are women, hear us roar. We can't do all the things, but let me tell you, we're damn good at doing all the things. And we have our struggles, but we're pretty amazing humans. The fact that we can handle all this stuff. And
absolutely,
I love my husband to pieces and I think he's an amazing human, but for him to do half the stuff that I do would never work. It just
my husband says you can do more before 6 a.m. than most people do in an entire day. Like, I don't know where you get it. It's also why I'm like falling asleep on the couch at 7 o'clock at night, but but you got to get it in somewhere. So, you put it in when it works for you. But
I think we just have that innate, and it's not everybody, but I think that calling, that, push that, we just have we want to reach those, big goals and do all the things and be the mentors and coaches and things and just be the inspiration for, for others in this. So that's literally for sure. You and I are very similar on that. And I know we've always hit it off right away. And I'm like, I like this. She's perfect. She's exactly who I want to be in this community, because I think we all come from different perspectives, but we can all trigger to that one person that can make a difference or inspire. My big thing is just to inspire somebody to, you don't have to be. And the thing is you don't have to be a business owner. There's nothing wrong with being an employee for the rest of your life. That's just as amazing. Sometimes I wish I could have that mindset. But we all have different struggles at different ways. So whether you want to be a business owner or whether you want to be on the corporate side or just work as an employee, there's nothing wrong with that. And I think it's just important. You still need coaches. You still need guidance and inspiration.
Because all of that is perspective about yourself, whether you're a stay-at-home mom, an employee, a business owner. Every time you work on yourself, it's only going to help make you just a better human, a better mom, a better wife, a better whatever. It's also why I developed the tagline, be the best version of you. We are not cookie cutters. I actually had a really, really dear friend of mine tell me just really recently, actually last Christmas, we were visiting her and she said, so I checked out, she's not on social very much, or she wasn't. She said, I checked out your feed and I just want to tell you, I would never hire you. And I was like, oh, again, pull out the dagger. Like, okay. I'm going to brace myself. Tell me, give it to me straight. You already are. Let me, why? And she said, because I don't ever think I'm going to look like you, be built like you, have your eyes, like whatever those traits are that she was comparing herself to. And that was such an aha moment. She actually texted me later and apologized. And I said, do not apologize for that, because that was probably one of the best tips I've ever gotten is I need to stop putting out exactly this cookie cutter Stepford wife version. And I need to get vulnerable. And I've gotten this message so many times through my life, and I'm finally going to listen. I'm going to make sure that people know I'm not trying to create like robots of me or carbon copies of me. I'm trying to help people become the best versions of themselves in whatever area their goals are. And so that's really been, and since I started focusing on that, my business has totally expanded. It's why I got a nutrition coaching certification to add on to the health coaching, because we all struggle, or we all feel challenged, or we all want to improve in different areas. And so building relationships like you and I have built, hiring coaches, listening to our best friends tell us these little nuggets, as painful as they can be and as hard as the growth process can be, you come out the other side so much better.
And I think with that story, you also had to be in a place that you could take that criticism, right? I think if it was rewound maybe a year or two ago, you probably wouldn't have taken it the same way, right?
I wouldn't have talked to her.
Exactly. Like would have totally lost it. But there's always a silver lining, and we always have to relook at, okay, there's a reason. I'm a big believer in faith, and I'm a big believer in kind of the what's meant to be will be, but also like things happen for a reason. I think my mom says that to me and said that to me daily, and I wanted to murder her every time she did. But now I look back, more than likely she's going to be listening to this. So I will say it on here, but I will never say it to her face is mom was
right. Oh, that was hard. Take a breath, take a moment, let your mom soak that in.
That was a lot. But you know, like that, I think you were probably in a really good place to accept that, and kudos to you for being able to grow from it. It was still really hard probably to listen to, but it also, that just speaks volumes of who you are to shift the mindset and go, okay, that was rough to take, but how can I make myself better from it? So,
and I've always said everything happens for a reason, but I would always in the back of my head be like, okay, but then why do people get cancer? Or why do these, and then so I shifted a little bit, and it's like, everything doesn't always happen for a reason necessarily, but what's the lesson I can learn from this? If someone gets cancer, heaven forbid, what's the lesson I can learn? Value my family more, take care of myself better. And so that shift for me was really big in my own personal growth. And, and I mean, frankly, my coaching business is it started at least 100% selfishly. Yes, I wanted to help people develop and grow and get healthy, mind, body, spirit. But it also was so fulfilling to me to be able to help people. I was growing so much as a human that it was just like, give me more, give me more. And so I've just completely transformed, to your point. But that also just shows as perfect as you can look from the outside, which if y'all know me, I am far from perfect, but as perfect as you can look, you know, as Instagrammable, there's always stuff going on, but it's what you do with it and what you put out and what you learn from it that really, 100%. Really matters.
Oh my gosh. So true. And so to kind of, like move into, we could literally probably talk for hours, and I hope people, I am enjoying myself so much right now. And I'm like, this is the best thing ever. We are working together. Our businesses, are working together in the month of October. And, you know, when we met each other, I learned what your husband did, and it is very personal to me, and also people on my team, my staff, means it's very personal to them. But I want you to let them know what we're doing in October, and to kind of give a little oversight, because our businesses are coming together and for something so personal for me. So I'm super excited for the entire month of October.
I'm so excited to do this with you. And so what Ashley is referencing is, so about 5 years ago, I started a Walk to End Alzheimer's team. I did it as a way, legacy and giving back is a very important value to me. It was something I was raised with, and I wanted to pass that legacy on to my son. So I was looking for ways that he could volunteer. And there's just not a lot of nonprofits. When he was, 7, 8 years old, understandably, liability, yes. Not a lot of nonprofits will take in an underage kid. Right. But what I realized was a lot of the walks are super kid friendly. My husband is the chair of the Department of Brain Health at UNLV. He studies schizophrenia, Alzheimer's, traumatic brain injury. Most of the funding these days is really around Alzheimer's. And so it was also a really beautiful way to bridge my values of exercising and getting my child involved with giving back and impacting the community with what my husband does for work. So we started this team. It's called Team Brain Health. And ironically, my husband and I, neither of us really are personally, meaning our immediate family, are impacted by Alzheimer's. However, since starting this team, we've had way more than at least 100 people approach us with their own personal stories. So over these 5 years, the team has grown. We've lost team members to this horrible disease. We've met people like you that are so personally impacted and want to help fund research and find cures and get involved in the community. And so Ashley and I really connected on this last year. And so this year, she, through her insurance agency, is going to be donating back a portion of all of the new I just blanked on the word.
Nope. So all the quotes that come into our agency for the month of October, we are donating $10 for every quote. So it doesn't have to be for anything. We're just doing it on the side. But this is our way of giving back. And then we will be doing a set donation at the end of the month as well. And then our team is going to participate in the walk with you guys. I'm doing this for my grandfather. We made pillows. My mom made pillows out of his shirts. And then he always had notes. And this is actually notes with his handwriting and stuff, and a photo of us in it. So this always sits in my office, near and dear to my heart. So I'm participating for my grandfather, who passed away a couple years ago from Alzheimer's. So
I love that so much. And what you don't know is you inspired me. And so I'm also going to be donating a percentage of all of my new clients that come on as well. So you inspired me. And so I want to start that tradition as well. And I'm so excited to have you as a part of Team Brain Health. It's a great community. We're going to be doing some conditioning walks here soon. And then
I know I should probably get on top of that, huh? Shoot.
I'll let the team know as soon as we launch them. But the actual walk is October 28th. It's at the Las Vegas ballpark. So for any locals listening, come join Team Brain Health.
And I'll have notes in the podcast on our YouTube. Perfect. And then we're going to be everything on First Choice Insurance Group site is going to be pushing it. We'll link your stuff with Hello Coaching. So we will promote it on all social media platforms. So the links will be here too.
Amazing. It's a great cause. It's a great time. It's a great venue. Like, honestly, it's one of my favorite too. End of October. Perfect weather. Yes. 100%.
My twins are going to be doing the walk. I'm going to have my wagon and they will be part of the walk. So
it's so perfect. That's exactly the point is families can get involved and they're going to learn the legacy of their grandfather and they're going to see their mom getting involved. And like I'm literally getting goosebumps. This is why I got involved because again, it's an amazing cause, but it's a thread that unfortunately is growing for so many families and so many people are impacted by it emotionally, financially, in every way. And so that's so beautiful that the twins are going to be there. I cannot wait to see them because they are the cutest twins in the whole wide world.
Thanks. I'm a little biased, but I appreciate your thoughts. Yes. They have their moments for sure. And
we all?
They are going to live on their legacy. They never got to meet their great grandfather. But he was there in spirit when they were being made in the IVF Petri dish. So they were there and always a part of him. So yes.
Amazing. So this will carry that on for them. I love that.
Well, this has been so awesome. I have had so much fun and I just hope that all of our listeners got to learn all about you and Hello Coaching and just a little piece and why we hit it off so well. Because you're an amazing human and I think you're doing so good for just society today, ever since kind of especially COVID. It's rough out there and we all need that village around us. And I hope that somebody, really can get inspired and reach out to you. We'll have all of your contact information in there, but what is the best way to reach out? If they don't see the notes, what's the best way to get a hold of you?
hellocoaching.info is my website. I'm also on Instagram, Facebook, LinkedIn, but hellocoaching.info, everything is right there. There's some really fun quizzes and downloadable tools and my bio if you want to know more. So that's the place.
Awesome. So Debi, thank you so much for being here.
Thank you, Ashley.
Just appreciate your time. And I know we'll connect here soon again.
Yeah, I'll probably text you later.
Right. So thank you. And thank you everybody for listening in. Please, if you have any questions, reach out to Debi. She is awesome and will be able to help you in whatever your journey is.
Thank you.
Thanks for listening. I'm your host, Ashley Mastowski. Tune in next time for more inspiration and stories from women who've made an impact. Make sure to follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube. Special shout out to Little Dog Social Media for making all of this come together.